Hi everyone, so our group did a study on the digestive system of termites. Let's begin. Termites, also known by their scientific name as Isoptera, are among the most successful group of insects on Earth, colonizing almost every landmass except the extreme cold parts of the world. Their habitat varies slightly depending on the species, but usually termite nests are found underground, in wooden structures, mud tubes, on top of trees, and other environments related to soil and wood. Termites also thrive in tropical climates where it's warm all year and also humid.
The termite's digestive tract functions similarly to the majority of other insects in that it contains a complete system with two openings, those being the mouth and the rectum. Looking at the digestive tract itself, we can see that it's divided into three primary sections, including the fore, mid, and hind guts. Food enters through the mouth at the foregut, passes through the esophagus, and at the end of the esophagus is a crop containing a gizzard, which aids in mechanically grinding up organic plant material before entering the midgut through the stomatal valve. The midgut is where a lot of the absorption takes place. One of the big structures to highlight here are the Malpighian tubes, which function similarly to the kidney in that they absorb water and other molecules from the hemolymph, which is the bug equivalent of blood. Digested material then gets transported to the hindgut, containing a paunch for further reabsorption of nutrients before excretion from the rectum. Why is this important? Well, termites need to break down all that hardwood they are known for eating, which is where the gizzard comes in handy. It should also be noted that the mid and hindguts are coiled, which allows for increased food intake as well as additional surface area for more nutrients. The hindguts' reabsorbing properties allow for more nutrient intake, when one of the more important parts of the termite, however, is how they can host a microbiome of bacteria that helps break down plant material, including cellulose, which is super cool, into usable energy for both the termite and the bacteria themselves.
In terms of essential nutrients, cellulose, which is a form of carbohydrate, is the most common, and they get this by feeding on wood, humus, feces, leaves, and roots. For amino acids, the most common one is lysine, and termites also often feed on decayed wood, which has fungi that give them the necessary vitamins and nitrogenous foods.
Termites use their very large mandible or their very strong jaw in order to consume all the woody material that they eat. They will also eat other dead termites to obtain amino acids and nucleic acids. And in order to get the necessary gut microbiota to digest the cellulose, they will eat the excreted remains of other termites. So the coolest part of the termite is definitely their gut, which digests cellulose. So termite digestion primarily occurs in the hindgut in a hypoxic environment because cellulases, which digest cellulose, require there to not be any oxygen around. So there's two primary layers in the gut. The outer layer has bacteria that will absorb all the oxygen, and the inner layer has protozoa that contain the celluloses. These will convert the cellulose to glucose, and then Spirochetes bacteria, which will ferment the glucose to acetate. The acetate is then diffuses out and is released into the hemolymph outside of the gut. So the absorption is not particularly well studied. However, we do know that acetate will enter the hemolymph. This acetate is then circulated throughout the termite instead of glucose, as in many other animals. Acetate can then enter the TCA cycle in the termite's mitochondria, and this results in ATP production for the termite.
During microbial fermentation, hydrogen is accumulated in the hindgut, and most of this hydrogen is used for homoacetogenesis and methanogenesis. Acetate produced from this process is used as a food source for termites, and methane produced is released through the rectum, which also is a pathway for fecal pellets.
Termites are social insects and are divided into group and castes with specific functions. There are reproductives whose main function is to lay eggs, and there are also soldiers who defend the nest from invaders and have mandibles. Some can secrete a toxic substance from their heads to kill and subdue invaders. Lastly, there are workers who do most of the work, like digging tunnels and retrieving and feeding food.
To receive food, worker termites feed the others either by mouth or by anal feeding. Anal feeding is especially where the termites receive the nutrients from hindgut fermentation. There is limited knowledge of how termites store energy, so looking at how cockroaches store energy is beneficial. They are related to termites, and they store energy after nutrients have been broken down in fat bodies. Termites are ectotherms, so they are dependent on an external source of body heat. They maintain high and constant temperatures within their mounds.
They also use a process called sclerotization, which is when the cuticle of the termite is hardened by cross-linked sclerotin. Increased sclerotization allows termites to not only withstand hotter temperatures, but also to prevent desiccation because termites usually forage on the soil surface where there's a lack of humidity.